follow her while dodging the door on its return swing. As soon as Callie entered the conference room, her little twist of anxiety from the hallway edged out. She was confident. She knew she had a certain charm that won people over, whether or not she was actually trying to win them over. Beyond that, she was obsessed with reading, writing, literature, theory, analysis. She had studied literature for 6 straight years during her undergraduate and graduate terms before leaving it behind to enter the corporate world because she didn't know what else to do. Because of the lapse, she might be a little rusty, but all things English were her passion, so she figured she couldn't really be too out of shape, linguistically speaking. "You got this," she reminded herself, catching Dr. Courtney Wincheck Rodriguez's eye with a small nod as she sat down in the chair she was directed to. "Our first candidate is Callie Lewes," began the hallway woman, and Callie tensed immediately. Was she serious? What kind of game was this? "Callie has—" "I apologize for interrupting," Callie said calmly. While she was tempted to throw her own withering glare at this obnoxious human specimen, she resisted the temptation and aimed for professionalism instead. With a kind smile, she explained again the pronunciation of her last name, throwing in an anecdote about how Lewes is actually the simpler version of her historically Welsh last name. The room was quiet for a moment, no one certain as to who should speak next. Behind her, she had no doubt, hallway girl was glowering. Finally, someone on the panel spoke. "Audrey, aren't you originally from Delaware?" Grateful the focus had been taken off her for a moment, and hoping her gentle correction didn't turn around and bite her in the ass, Callie looked more closely at the 4 professors seated in front of her. Courtney was on the end, her long legs stretched out under the table, carefully manicured hands folded casually in front of her, and an amused smile resting on her lips. Per usual, her brown hair was pulled back in a tight, no-nonsense bun. Next to her was Dr. Darkler, one of Callie's least favorite professors from her graduate experience. It wasn't that she didn't like him, it was just that he wasn't exactly progressive in his studies or his teachings. She hadn't been able to fully jibe with his love for the classics during the course she'd taken with him years ago. Dr. Renee Lawler was leaning forward, her chin resting on her fist as she took in the scene unfolding before her. Callie had always sensed Dr. Lawler liked her, especially during her undergrad years, but they didn't know each other well, and now, despite being a little older and more than a little wiser, she still found the chair of the department fairly intimidating. She could rock a power suit and disarmingly high heels like nobody's business, and today was no exception. Her tanned skin shone against the bold turquoise fabric of her silky shirt, and Callie was certain that a matching pair of heels was hidden under the table. Finally, her eyes drifted to the last person sitting there, the one professor she didn't know. Coincidentally, she was also the person who had asked Audrey about Delaware. Callie searched her memory for any recollection of her, but she came up empty. She studied her, hoping for something to click. Below a slightly wavy crop of dark brown hair, unblinking hazel eyes were fixed on a spot just behind Callie, which she knew must be Audrey. Her skin was a touch darker than pale, and she was dressed modestly in cropped black pants, a white top, and a nice-fitting black blazer. A pair of thin black wire-rimmed glasses sat next to her open laptop. As Callie struggled to put her finger on anything about this woman, she heard hallway girl, Audrey, apparently, stutter behind her. "Well, yes,